Okay, so it's letting me do it. So we're live on this one. And, okay. We're now live on another live on my page. I don't want to confuse people. But we're now on another live on my page. I need this light on. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Okay. All right, let me invite Sandra in. There's Vera Ingenborg. Okay, we're going to be moving to another live. So I'm going to shut this one down. All right? Let me let Sandra know. She can come on now. Ready? All right. She's seen it. Okay, so she'll be coming on. Let's see if I can. As soon as I see her on, I'll bring her on. Let's see. Sandra. Add viewer. Sandra. It's moving kind of slow. Here it is. There she is. Okay, so I just... All right. Let's see. Let's see her. She'll be here in a second. I'm going to shut the other one down. Okay, for those of you who just got here, we're going to go to another live on my page. It's already running. And I'm going to shut this one down because Sandra couldn't get in on this software. So as soon as she comes in, I'm going to put her on the screen with me. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this one down, and we're going to go to another one on my page. All right. Leave. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's see. Is she here yet? All right. Sandra, if you're there. Well, there's so many people in here, it's hard to see. All right. Let's see here. Once she clicks on the live, I don't see her yet. She'll be here. Let's see. All right, Sandra Walter. She's not on yet. Okay, let's see. We'll get there. We got 58 people in the house. Let's see. She might be on the other one. That was what I was afraid of. I don't see her yet. There's so many names here. They're moving so fast. Thank you, everybody, for the well wishes. Let's see. I don't see her on yet. She'll be here. For sure. Hey, Amanda Lawrence. Thank you for that beautiful message today. All right, let's see. I don't see her yet. Sandra. Nope, not yet. Oh, plug this in. She'll be here. Listen how I am. Okay. Sandra, if you're out there, you can ask to be invited, and I can also invite you when I see you in here.
Morgan, tell Todd to look on his phone and see near the comments if he sees a little camera.
I know how to do it. Thank you.
Click on it and actually invite her in.
Yes, I'm very aware of that. Thank you, Teresa. Yeah. She's not in the audience yet. When she's in the audience, I can invite her, but 72 people in the house. Let's see. She's not on yet. Let's see. Let me send her a note. Let me just make sure she's not on. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let me just tell her. She's writing me. Okay. Come on to my page and I will join the live and I will invite you in. Okay, she's got it now. She'll be here in a second. Okay, she saw that. All right. Okay. She's coming. She'll be right here. 76 people in the house. Hello, everybody. Thank you for sharing. Oh, there she is. Let me see here. Okay. Let's see. Let me find her. I see her. Let me find her name. Sandra. It's got to give it a second to come up. Hang on, Sandra. It's not come up yet. It's not pulling everybody's names up. Just give it a second. It'll happen. No. I see her on there, but I can't pull her up. Let's see, where was she at? Terry Ismet. Oop, pushed the wrong button. All right, hang on a second. We'll get it. Facebook's just slow. No, she's still not pulling up yet. There's 93 people here, and she's not pulling up yet.
She's on here.
She's on here? I saw her. I saw her on here, but it's not showing her on here.
Do you want my computer?
No, that's not what it is. Let me see. It'll be all right. All right. Sandra's there. She says yes. But, Sandra, see if there is a icon that asked if you can be invited on. Because you're not pulling up on this one. See if you, on the face of the screen.
Is she a friend of yours too?
Yeah, she's my friend. Yeah. Yeah. But Facebook's not pulling them all up. Let me try this. Hang on. Come on. It's just moving slow. Yeah, I already... Okay. Right. Come on now. We got this. Now there's one possibility. There's one possibility, and that is that her phone's not updated with the Facebook Messenger. I mean, Facebook, to be able to come on. Well, no. Okay, let's try this. Let's try Sandra. Where is the icon? Can you bring your phone over here so I can see where the icon is? We can try two things. Facebook's just moving slow. Uh-oh. Did I freeze up?
Yeah, mine was messing up upstairs.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hang on. No, that's somebody else. Whoever's trying to get on. Just, let me see. Just let me do it. Hey, let me see it. Okay, the icon, let me go back. The icon, Sandra, on the laptop, where's the person? Oh, you have to be on a phone. That's what it is. You have to be on the phone, Sandra. In order to do this, you'd have to be on your cell phone. Can you do that? Yeah, she's on a laptop. So, if you can, get on your phone, go to my page, and just click it like you're going to watch it, and then it will work. It'll allow me to bring you on. No. Sandra, can you go on your phone and go to the live on your phone, and then I can pull you on the screen. On this particular application, you have to be on, both have to be on phone. There you go. And if you're on the phone, I can invite you. You won't even have to do anything but click a button, because you'll get a notice. Let's see. Got 110 people in the house. Let's see if she got that. Yeah, to do this Facebook this way, or this live this way, you have to both be on a phone. We'll get it. And she's still not showing up. $111. Let's see if she's on again. Well, there's a will, there's a way, right? All right, see all these people. not on yet. I'll see her pop on. We'll get it done. All right, there's Sixtina. There's Sandra. One moment, on my phone installing Facebook app. Okay. She didn't have the Facebook app. Okay, I'm leaving the request to be on the broadcast open for Sandra. So, well, this is good. At least we're filling up the house, right? Giving people time to come in. She's downloading the Facebook app. It'll probably take a couple of minutes. A couple, 2-3 minutes. So how's everybody doing? Let's see what we got here. Hello, Melanie Kovaric. Thank you for the $11.11 contribution. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. That's how we got this far. Huh? Oh. Oh. She's just going to be a couple of minutes. She's got to download the Facebook. Yeah. Pretty soon we won't have this problem anymore. We'll have our own signal on our own site. We're going to be working that out in the next 10 days or so over in New Jersey with a young man named Keo, an IT whiz. Thank you, Corey. Thank you very much. Had a good time with Lavelle and the gang last Thursday. We're going to do it again tomorrow and produce that Let's Build for him. Hello, Judy Sawtell. How you doing? When are you going? We're going to New Jersey on next Tuesday. We're going for 10 days. There she is. I can bring her on now. There she is. Yes. Sandra Walter. There we go. Bring Sandra on. Yes. Okay. Let's see. There you are.
We do it?
Yeah. Hey, where there's a will, there's a way.
My goddess. Okay.
That's what I always
Let
say.
me just move this.
But usually when I'm in trouble with my goddess, that's what I
I think
say.
we're in trouble.
So
All right.
if you're on the phone, oh, you got it? You good?
I think we're good. Can you see me?
Yeah. I see you perfectly. You look beautiful.
Back.
Absolutely.
Back it up a little bit. See
Just tell me when.
face. All right.
Yeah.
Blessings, everyone.
Well, this is great. We love to keep it spontaneous
Woo!
at Soulogy, and sometimes the universe works with us. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, I was hanging around the studio yesterday afternoon, and then they told me that first they told me it was a 7-year anniversary today, and I didn't even remember. I was like, oh my God, and that hit me. And I started having all these flashbacks of walking on the street and all the stuff I went through and not giving up. And I started getting all teary, and they're like, sit down on the couch because Sandra Walter is going to come on the show tomorrow. And I'm like, are you what? So I was like, oh my God.
And Robin was like, it's Todd's 7-year anniversary tomorrow. And I was like, well, I had just received an invite to try to schedule something. And then I was like, 7, that's like a magic number. I'm like, how about we just throw me in the schedule? So here I am. Happy anniversary,
Beautiful,
brother. That's an
Thank
accomplishment. And I know as a fellow way shower, doing the work, consistency, toeing the line, standing on the front lines and everything is no easy task. So congratulations.
Well,
doing the good work.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And let me just say on behalf of everybody, thank you for your service to humanity. You know, I didn't know your story in depth, but I read through your bio and I have seen your stuff over the years. Morgan sends it to me. Will send me stuff sometimes, some of your stuff. And but I didn't know your story. You basically have been doing this since 1999. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I went suddenly clairaudient and
Wow.
claircognizant in 1999, and it wasn't at this level at all. But that's when my kind of trigger point to wake up and start on this path began. So, and I've been writing
So
since then.
yeah. So did you have any inkling that there was something else to all this before 99, or did you
Oh,
just snap to it then?
yeah, absolutely. And I would like to invite everyone in this now moment because we have this huge influx of energy coming in right before we begin.
Right?
So everyone just take a breath and kind of feel into that. You know, we're actually technically we're still in a gateway. So this is opening up all these gates for the June solstice. And we just went through 2 very intense weeks. That's why everyone's feeling so sleepy and a little spacey and everything. It's because we're taking this whole thing up to another level. So I just want to honor that in this moment. Just everyone just hold your heart, take a breath, and kind of feel into it. It's like, okay, here we go. And the
Mm,
conversation and it feels so surreal to talk about the past in the state of consciousness that we're anchoring in and we're feeling right now. So I will lightly touch on my past journey, but all of us are attempting to stay so present and so in the now that it feels really strange to talk about the past because it feels like a different person. I mean, there have been several points in my journey where I feel like a completely different person as just these higher and higher selves coming in to um, to kind of take over the journey, and that's just a a result of saying yes to the ascension process itself. You know, and all of us, as we move into this unity, this pure state of unity consciousness, you feel the past dissolving. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with my journey or my work, I'll touch on that, but also realize that it feels like it's a million years ago, a million lifetimes ago. It's all kind of dissolving. So, yes, I did go suddenly clairaudient, claircognizant in 1999. I was in Chicago. Which is like a trigger city for me because I lived there twice, and both times that I moved there, significant things happened from my journey. But it was the consistency. I started receiving messages, didn't really understand that, but before that, I had had, like many of you, so many episodes and experiences and consistent seeing through the veils as a child that it made sense. So when it happened, it was just a natural part of my journey. I was like, oh, now this is happening, you know, that kind of thing. Because even as a child, I had interaction with galactic levels or angelic levels, masters that would come into my field, and they were just, when you're a child, they're more like, you know, your invisible friends, you know, your the people that
mm,
are supporting you. So I always had that awareness, turned it off or dimmed it down rather, as you get older and get distracted with life and different things that are presenting. I had a significant experience when I was about 20 of that was an answer to a question because I was raised Catholic, but I always had a very a very open idea of what source was and what God was and what love was. And I didn't judge the church so much as I just felt like something else was going on. So at 20, I had this experience of, I asked during a past life regression, I asked to see God. I wanted to know what God was. And the regressions, you know, they take you back uh, as far back as you can go, and then further back as you go into like 3 different levels, going further and further back in your own personal timeline trajectory. And the third one, I was in my alien form. I was an ET. you step out of your body and look at yourself. And I was like, I'm an alien. At that point it was alien. It wasn't ET. This is back in late 80s. And I was like, oh, okay. But it was so me. It was so vibrant and so familiar that I didn't even blink at what that was. I was like, oh, there's my ET self, kind of thing. And then step back into my body, and then the question presented, the answer to the question presented, and it was just the veils just ripped wide open. And I had that beautiful experience that we get in meditation or in these activations of being in absolute divine oneness. Just the ceiling rips open all the different realities, and it was just multiverse, multidimensional, absolute fusion with source. And and absolutely beautiful. And it's wonderful that we can attain that now more regularly as all of us move into unity consciousness. So I carried that with me as my truth, as the divine truth. So I always knew that, well, that there's that thing is there, and everything else is bizarro land. It was just illusion and the journey and everything. But you still have this like higher perspective of like, yeah, that's what we're playing with down here, but there's this other thing. So it kept me interested in spiritual growth and expansion and creativity. And then when I went clairaudient in '99, all the messages that came in the beginning were all about creativity and what was going to unfold with a shift in consciousness and a dimensional shift. And in '99, they were talking about the towers falling, and that's when we're going to rebuild humanity. And certainly when 9/11 happened a couple years later, I was like, wow, you have my attention. Okay. And I literally sold everything, moved out of Chicago, went straight into mission, and have been in that mode ever since. So
Wow.
it was powerful. It was a
Wow,
powerful
that's pretty.
activation. And 9/11, of course, was a strong activation for a lot of star seeds that were like, all of a sudden it was like, oh, there's that thing, that trigger point, So very, very powerful for most of us.
So you moved out of Chicago at that point and started doing the work full time?
Well, I had been traveling quite a bit, so I'm not somebody who sits still for very long. So as soon as I left my hometown back in Williamsville, New York, which is Western New York, I was in Chicago, and then I was in California, and I was in Charleston. I've moved all over the place, and then once I had my gatekeeper uh, activation, then it became very direct as to where I was to travel to, what I was to, what I was to do. So my team got very direct about location, what I'm supposed to do, abandon everything, go here, and many grid workers and gatekeepers are familiar with that. It becomes overwhelming. Your journey will, and I learned too, because right before 9/11 happened, my journey was falling apart. It's just like the job, the boyfriend, the home, everything was just wrong, and my car got wrecked and everything like that. And we always, now that we learn when those changes in trajectory are about to happen, and you start seeing the signs, you're like, gotta pay attention. Something's gonna change.
Yeah.
And it does that
Yeah.
frequently, because we're always asking for the highest trajectory, the highest level of service that we can provide. And when we're asking for that,
Yeah.
signs come. Yeah.
Yeah. The universe puts you in a place you have no other choice
Yeah. I'm so
if you don't.
been in Mount Shasta for this long. Speaking of anniversaries, I just had my 6-year anniversary of being here in Mount Shasta. And
Wow. Congratulations.
2 years of the Sunday Unity meditations, which is wonderful. So we've been doing that every week for 2 years. And it's got this beautiful field around it. And I invite everyone to participate in that. We've been doing it consistently 3 times on Sunday, these unified meditations. And we do it offline so that it trains us how to connect telepathically and through the heart. And the field gets so palpable. You can feel it even when it's not on Sunday now, but we're all getting very connected. Those of us who are in service to bringing in peace and harmony and love, and you focus on that, and it's these three little 33-minute sessions on Sunday, but when we keep hitting it, it's like any spiritual practice. When the consistency builds spiritual strength and spiritual power, and then you're able to utilize that in your own life stream or for all these gateways and amplifications now, because the more people that get into that willingness to participate rather than wait for an event or the sun to go off,
Right.
something like that, the better.
So this occurs every Sunday, 3 times on Sundays.
Yeah,
And where is it coordinated? Is it on your page or website?
yeah, you can. I send out reminders. It's all posted on the website consistently,
Okay.
SandraWalter.com. I have
Okay.
reminders with the newsletter. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, I post it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter to remind people, oh yeah, it's Sunday, let's get together. So, and it's beautiful. There's a free guided meditation, the Christ Light expansion exercise that's on YouTube is used by a lot of people on that Sunday. So we get this really strong, expanded field of this divine love. And it's
Wow.
palpable and it changes you. Everyone's visions are getting stronger. People start seeing the same things. You start seeing more archangelic presence. You start seeing the galactic levels. You start seeing Gaia herself. You start seeing the gateways. We just had 2 weeks ago, we had the opening of the Creator Gates, which is this huge influx of really pure source light. That's why everyone got so sleepy over the last couple of weeks. Um, but it's sending us on this higher collective trajectory of ascension, and that's going to get very, very strong over the next couple of weeks because solstice, the June solstice, is another trigger point. So
Well, it seems like it. It seems like since the 1st of May, it's just been at warp speed.
absolutely.
It seems like it's been moving real fast.
Yeah, and this is a year of all of us moving into that higher trajectory. So we had a dramatic shift in December, and because it had to be collective, because the way showers and everyone who's awake and following ascension um, on our higher levels had kind of a divine powwow and decided let's do this thing. Let's have this uber blast of pure light because there's so many people aligned with their heart. There's so many people aligned with what unity consciousness and divine love truly means. They can feel it. It's not a catchphrase or something that you talk about or something that you're pretending until I get there. People are really feeling this. People are really feeling unity consciousness being anchored into the collective human heart grid. And it doesn't matter whether people are awake or not. The higher vibration of that, I call them the high vibe tribe, the light tribe, the
Mm,
vibration is by quantum proxy raising up everyone into the higher trajectories. So and because so many people are agreeing to that on a soul level, that's why we're having
right.
these dramatic
And
amplifications, really beautiful.
yeah, and that's everybody on the earth. Everybody's being moved up. Is that right? And then
We're
some are more aware of it.
it's like bandwidths of frequency. So if someone's vibrating with a really low frequency and a really high frequency comes along, it's going to, the higher vibration, the vibration gets so high that it starts pulling people up into a higher timeline experience. And then they go through their ascension process or awakening in a very, much more accelerated way. So people that stepped in, say like a first waiver, uh, it took decades to get to where they are. And now that it is a collective vibration and that Gaia
Yeah.
already ascended and has already created that platform. Now we're migrating the realities to that higher platform. So somebody who is not experiencing ascension is kind of getting the light by proxy. It's global, it's
Yeah.
here. You know, it's still their personal free will choice that's always honored. Personal free will choice to engage. You know, it's always
Yeah.
somebody is like, I don't believe it, I don't feel it, I don't want unity. They won't. You know, they will
Right.
deny access, and that's absolutely fine. You know, we have to honor that free will choice of those beings who are just, you know, there's some soul groups that are just like gonna wait to the last second, you know. But it is, but the platform for 3D and 4D is dissolving. You know, it's going
Yeah.
away. Technically, it's already gone. So it's yeah, it's kind of interesting, but it's the higher bandwidth of the people who are just going for it and really embracing the solar cosmic Christ, to be a pure conduit of that eternal cosmic light that is source consciousness, that's making the difference, that's accelerating it. And everything is moving really quickly, and
Yeah.
it's perception too, because some people are like, I don't see any change, and it's like you have an open invitation to take a look at what's happening with the light trap, what's happening with all the people who are awake right now, and take a look,
Yeah.
open your heart and go, they are having a radically different experience. What's going on there?
Yeah.
You know, so it's personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of hours ago, it seemed like 2 or 3 hours ago, something came in. You made reference to it. Was that what you were saying? Was it a couple of hours ago? Just
Yeah.
because we felt it here. Morgan and I felt it here.
Yeah. It was
Absolutely.
just like, wow. Yeah. And these waves can feel that way moving forward. Um, they're very, it feels physical. You know, it does feel physical. All of a sudden, like,
Yeah.
whoa. I mean, people were texting me right before here. They're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? It's like, hold on. You know, and the other thing is too, you know, our intention to unify, small or large, um, always assists. You know, this the second you have people together, unified in that intention, it's beautiful. But this is a gateway, you know, and when the gateway's open for pure source consciousness to return to everyone, you know, it's God coming back to us. It's what all the
Right.
promises were about. And when it starts becoming more palpable for the people who are opening themselves as conduits, you tend to feel a little spacey, a little like, wow, you know, you might get sleepy. That's DNA activations. You have to lay down. Some of these frequencies are only uh, integrated through sleep state. So it's
Yeah.
take that nap. Yeah. Yeah, but it is palpable.
Which is which is interesting because it's like last night I went to bed at maybe 1 o'clock and I woke up at 3:33 because I know it's a special day and I knew something was going down, but at the same time I'll get sleepy and lay down for an hour during the day. So it's strange because the patterns are totally off. There are no patterns anymore. It seems like.
Yeah. Well, it's better sometimes just to take the nap so that you don't, so your mind, you know, your mind has to turn off in order for this to fully come online. And and we're doing so much work in sleep state. You know, when you're tired, just honor it. Know that, you know, I wanted to make sleep mass that said needed upstairs, you know, and because, you know, we're working on at a multidimensional level, and when you're very aware of that, it it becomes quite interesting. You know, you're just like, drop everything. It's just like being a gatekeeper. You'll drop everything
Yeah.
when you get that tap, you know, when you get that alert, like, here we go, coming in, open up. And the last couple of weeks have been very intense gate work and grid work, just setting us up for this particular influx. And it's beautiful, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just continual. You know, if you're a gatekeeper or a grid worker or a light worker, and you've been anchoring these frequencies or working on the grids, um, you know, it becomes, gosh, almost like a lifestyle, you know, just like ascension becomes a lifestyle where you're so consistently in service and so attuned to the kingdoms and the elementals and Gaia and the sun, you know, for my consciousness, for my connection, it's solar gateways and off-world cosmic stargates. And that can be a very strong out there experience, you know, very difficult to describe. But when you feel that light, you know, everyone, when you feel that coming in, sometimes it feels palpable, like you're like a wave will come right through your ascension column, your pillar of light, your threefold flame, whatever you want to call it. When you feel it coming in to your energy fields, that kind of like instantaneous, strong beam like sensation, and you're familiar with it, you know, when you're familiar with that divine love, and it tends to uh, further your bliss states, you know, there's just so, it's so blissful and it's so beautiful that you immediately, you know, either put your hands on your heart, put your hands together, put your hands up, and offer yourself as a conduit for absolute pure divine love. Whatever this is coming in, I open myself as a conduit for the pure and true organic ascension, these cosmic rays of evolution, photonic light amplifications, for the pure light of source to return to all of my brothers and sisters. And when you connect with that and you feel it, you can feel entire oversoul groups getting activated. You know, and
Wow.
it doesn't matter if you're getting the pings from, you know, I have a network of people that will text me, you know, kind of like, hey sister, feeling this? Yep, okay, anchoring this, you know, my little gatekeeper network. You know, there's a few close friends that we we rarely talk. You know, most of them are offline. But it when strong things happen, we're like, here we go. You know, and it's we connect. You know, instantaneously we connect. We're like, okay. You know, I don't need the text to know when we're going to connect. You know, it's the moment you feel it instantly. Okay, everybody on board, and you
Yeah.
can feel, and of course, because of the Sunday Unity meditations, we can feel each other's field. We can feel that collective. Here we go. You know, in the now moment. So there's no need for technology. You know, there's no need
Yeah.
for the kind of grounded technology, which was one of the intentions outside of unifying us and teaching us how to feel these energies as a united force of source. Um, you can feel your brothers and sisters. You can feel that one unified heart beingness, and it dramatically changes your energy fields. It changes your DNA. All of a sudden, you're getting back all the stuff that was planted here for the ascension, you know, for this particular
Wow.
moment on this particular higher trajectory, primary Christed timelines that we are experiencing. And it's beautiful. And you just hold the intention of being that conduit, speaking, feeling, thinking. All of your actions, your words, and your deeds start aligning with mastery. And that's something that doesn't need to be done in a cave in a mystery school anymore. You know, it's something that we do
Right.
in our lives. And it's just practice. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm triggered and I'm trying to clear and there's things banging on my fields and everything. It's like, feel, feel in this now moment your mastery self, your Christed presence, your angelic presence, whatever it is that you're connected to in the higher realms. And when you feel that and know that that is untouchable and that is omnipotent in its own way, because it is pure source consciousness that is attempting to shine right through you. No more separation, no more separation from God, no more separation from source. And then you have to remind yourself, all through this process, we're consistently catching ourselves. This is an exercise that I'm going to recommend again, because you have to remind the tribe quite often. Speak, use your language, use your communication as a way to convey these frequencies. Everything has that light, that frequency, those crystal codes. So whether you're typing it out, or whether you're speaking it out, or whether you're thinking it out, remind yourself of that Christed presence, that Almighty I Am, whatever you want to call it, your divine presence. And you become an example of that. And you train yourself how to shift your energy fields into divine sacred geometry, into divine proportions. And then you start aligning with 0 point. And once you start accessing 0 point, that absolute pure oneness, that absolute, there's nothing there but absolute source. Consciousness is purity. Divinity is beyond the light and how it expresses and everything. When you get into there, that's where those really deep activations of these pure source codes, these higher levels of DNA, all of that can occur, because you're allowing it. You're allowing your own empowerment. You're embracing your own empowerment to be a conduit of that light. And it does change you, and it will change the way that you speak. And until you get there, you practice and you catch yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a 12-year-old boy on yesterday, and I asked him,
Mhm.
what do your classmates say about the world? And he said, well, the world's crashed. And I said, well, where does it go from here? And he said, well, less technology and more nature.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about what you said about when these energies come down, you don't need a text. You automatically know that you guys are going to connect to that collective field and do the work. It almost sounds like to me like a merging from that individual to that collective.
It is. That's what unity consciousness is. There's no more separation between me and you. I'm literally having a conversation with myself in this now moment. When you get there and you see, I love you so much. And whether you're looking in the mirror or looking at Todd and my cell phone, it just doesn't matter. You're like, wow, everything else was just a game. And here we are in this now moment, broadcasting absolute divine love. There's nothing else here,
No.
and I'm sure you can feel that. I hope other people can feel that too. But when you
Yeah.
get to that point, then in Shasta we call it the heart phone. When you want to call somebody in, we don't use technology. You're just,
No, really.
I want to talk to Sandra today, and you're wandering through the meadow, and thank you, you got my call. We always go, oh, you got my heart phone call. And it's just when you're in that, it's the Christ consciousness at its best is the interconnection, interwoven lattice work of all that is. So it's not just it's multidimensional self at the purest form, but while you're experiencing Gaia, it's your interaction with the kingdoms and the elementals and everything. You feel that Krishna state. I am the ocean washing on my ankles. I am my ankles. I am the sand under my feet. I am the sun hitting my eyelashes. I am the cosmic stargates. I am source. You become all of that. And when you breathe into that and really feel it, all the other nonsense goes away. You're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then you have this true experience of multidimensionality, where you are that oneness, and then all the fractals that you are in a different star system, in a different galaxy, in a different universe, in a different expression on a planet, a different expression as a star, a different expression as a angelic master, star brethren, all of that. you start feeling the full breadth of that multidimensionality, and that is truly an activation that comes through the heart center. It doesn't work without it. It truly does. You
Mm.
won't have that awareness until the heart is open to embracing all that is, and embracing truly an ascension path, a path of, okay, I am going to pursue this no matter what. And when you get to that point in your journey where I'm going to speak my truth and I'm going to honor everyone, sometimes in the beginning of an awakening, people will learn different fragments of the truth from others, or what they stumbled upon online, or they have an experience, and then they want to kind of spray that information on everyone.
Yeah.
It's most complementary, especially in these energies, to completely focus on divine love and your own divinity, and finding the divinity in others. There's no one here who isn't a divine spark of source in one way or another. So when you can find that, um, there's definitely a grace and a gentleness to that that makes these energies easier. And it's the only reason why I'm mentioning this right now, is because as the energies amplify and these gateways get broader and more direct for many of the folks that are anchoring these energies, it may get quite intense this year, but
Mm.
intense in a good way, because it is acceleration of everyone's journey. So when people who were, maybe on the fence about ascension or on the fence about spirituality start feeling something in a very palpable way, which is something that gatekeepers are constantly calling in for decades now. Make it palpable for all concerned, make it palpable, so that people will awaken. Because when they start feeling it, they start getting ascension curious, and then hopefully they'll pursue a path of divine love. But as it gets more intense, understand that the intensity is dissolving all of those lower structures, all of those lower realities that have a very weak framework at this point. Technically, again, it's already gone. Technically, those lower realities went away prior to the end of 2012. And it's just the collective co-creation of more of the same that keeps those things running. And of course, there's a lot of beings who want to keep that running because they can't see beyond, um, the kind of barrier of, like, you have to activate your heart, otherwise you don't get to play in that ascended
Yeah.
Gaia realm. So it's key, and my guidance this year has been to focus on teaching people what I call the creator state of consciousness. And the creator state of consciousness, that is the Christ consciousness, this state of beingness as a divine human, allows you to fully realize your effect on your own reality and the collective reality. And the moment that a whole bunch of us start shifting, which is what the shifting consciousness is about, because it was created by us in the higher realms, this whole journey, the more of us that are resonating with creating positive, loving, beautiful things, because 5D and beyond, amazing creations. And for those of you who are experiencing crystalline consciousness, or the higher realms, or upstairs as we call it, can have already
Mm.
perceived how beautiful that is. And you notice there's very little distortion in those realms. So the more that we can focus on co-creating divine perfection, as close as we can get, divine love, divine light, pure freedom, creating
Right.
half of everyone, the faster those lower realities will just lose their energetic input altogether, which is, kind of pulling the plug on those lower realities anyway, by all of us embracing this ascension path and all the work that the light workers and gatekeepers and grid workers are doing right now. We're literally migrating entire oversoul groups, which is millions of people, to higher trajectory
Wow.
timelines. Yeah. And
Wow.
it's beautiful. It's palpable.
Yes. Yes, it is. And yeah, it's like music to my ears. In fact, I lose track of the shows, but we were just talking about this one or two shows back, using the same type of words that you're using, freedom being huge, a huge characteristic, I guess. Now, I don't want to get too caught up on the past, but I just got to ask you something. It must be an incredible journey for you to have started in '99 and watch all this stuff change over 20 years.
Oh,
I
and
mean, I bet you're excited. You must be excited to
1,000
have gone through
years.
all those early.
I mean, this is a blip on the screen. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to be cognizant of that. But honestly, I mean, some of
Mhm.
you have been here for millions of years, a long
Yeah,
time, much longer than my incarnate self. Um, so it feels like fat. I mean, it's just nothing. I asked my star family at one point. I was like, what does it feel like for you? How long have I been gone? And they're like, you never left. This is just
yeah,
a fractal of your beingness is having this experience, and
yeah,
that level, even star family level, is not the be all and end all of all that I am. I have seen
right.
what our higher oversoul groups are up to, and it's quite incredible. It's quite incredible.
Yeah,
So this, and it's not to, I want to be direct, it's not to belittle the experience. The
yeah,
experience is everything. This is literally
yes,
changing an entire universal structure with all that's going on and all the different densities, changing the entire galaxy, the entire galactic structure. Everything is being changed through what we are working on, and it's not just here. This has a very unique purpose. Gaia becoming a crystallized solar cosmic Christed, more solar spiritual sun type of planetary consciousness is um, is quite an accomplishment. It's like our big creative project is to do this, and we've attempted it before, and now here's the one where we actually did it. So yes, it's an incredible experience, but it's it feels, I mean, I can still feel the moment of the first message that I received. I still feel the moments of being a
mm,
child in my bedroom. It's all happening now. I feel the moments of
yeah,
bedroom and the stuff's moving around on its own, and all that weird stuff flying around the backyard. Seeing, coming back to bed and taking off my jumpsuit. All
mhm,
wild experiences, but it's all now. It's so pure. It feels it, and that's
yeah,
the thing about zero point is it feels it's there. You can recall it, but it's also kind of gone. It's
yeah,
gone. So the more that we can focus on what we are creating in the moment and the next moment and the next moment, that keeps us in the flow of where these energies are going and how this acceleration and amplification can truly help everybody. Everybody wants healing. Everybody wants peace at the core. Everybody wants,
yes,
that's a command from source. So even if you have so much distortion in your field that you're just like, I'm out. I don't want that experience. It's going to happen by proxy. There's a little bit of
yeah,
bifurcation along the way, bifurcation of timelines and experiences, and some beings that are like, I want more density no matter what. They really share that
mhm,
experience even for their own survival. Um, they do get that experience, just not here. It just won't happen
yeah.
in this
So,
created.
yeah, and that was a great answer, by the way. You're right. It's just a blink of an eye. You're right. And each day, those memories are all here to a greater and greater awareness within ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say? I see people. I think you already answered this, but struggling with the the tugs from the 3D, so to speak. The labels that we carry, the functions that we have, the patterns, the behaviors, trying to pull away from that. On one hand, it looks like you said, if even if they don't make that choice consciously, it's done by proxy. It's going to happen anyway. But on the other hand, you see people still struggling with that, and maybe that's going away, maybe that's fading. But I notice that people say, how do I get away from that? How do I take these steps forward?
The very first thing to remember is how strong you are. Brothers and sisters, you are immense beings poured into a tiny little skin suit. You know, we have to remember how pure and how infinite we truly are. So when you come from that and you realize, oh, I'm just having this experience, but that experience is not all that I am, that can help. The other thing that helps is knowing that it is this structure, these structures do have a school-like quality to it. So you're learning on behalf of maybe your oversoul group. You know, it's not
Mm-hmm.
you, but it's also it's such training for creation dynamics. I love it. I absolutely love it. That creator state of consciousness where you're aware of what you're creating each moment. When you're getting all of this beautiful training on all these different levels of how to become aware of your bilocated multidimensional self that's in multi locations, um, and still function, you can realize like, oh, what
Yeah.
a high level of mastery that is. It's like, well, there's all these structures that were put in place, and you can't blame other beings for creating those structures. It's us. Remember this in unity
Yes.
consciousness, that this is all of us. You know, we have all participated either by creating it ourselves or by agreeing to it for so darn long. You know, it is what it is.
Wow.
But don't judge the self, you know, and don't judge others. You know, non-judgment is such a huge part of this Christly process. But it's having a sense of humor and joy and gratitude about even the stupidest of little things that present during the day, and going, you know what, I can choose love and joy in this moment no matter what. No matter what. And sometimes, yes, you have to walk away from if it gets too intense, if you're talking about conflict or people trying to drag you into um, uh,
Mm-hmm.
conflict scenarios and things like that. Sometimes it's better just to bless them and be on your way. But when it comes to the the teaching of this creator and creation consciousness, there's something that's really strong with that this year, because we've got these levels of consciousness. Let me just go here for a second. Just getting hit.
Yeah.
So we've got this 5D overlay that a lot of people are experiencing. Beautiful, she's here already, done, right? Done deal. And you just migrate your reality and your consciousness into those fields and those creations that have already been created. Then you've got the 7D layer. The 5D layer feels like unity consciousness, just beautiful, heart opening, joyful, loving, extremely creative, kind of like, you know, the schoolyard is out, you know, and just kind of like, yeah, freedom. You know, it's a very freeing mechanism. Sometimes it can feel
Mm.
very orgasmic. You know, it feels like your energy fields and everything are just like in the state of I call it blissgasms, you know, but it's a very kundalini type sensation that might present absolute loving, all that is, no matter what. You get very impermeable to the other things that are going on. And then the 7D layer steps further, in my experience, further into purified unity consciousness, where there's a lot of focus. That's why we're doing these New Earth Now experiments right now, because we understand how timeline dynamics and gateways work. So you're able to focus. You get a small bunch of people together, you know, as many as you can. You get a small bunch of people together, and you start playing with timelines as the present now reality, and you have people experience, feeling, truly feeling what it feels like to be in a new earth now. experience. And that feeling mechanism activates not only everybody in the group, but it also, we surge it out through the collective human heart grid so that it's available to everyone. We've been doing this, and it seems to coordinate beautifully with these accelerations that are happening. So it's a very complementary thing. And in 70, there's this purity of unity that's able to start creating realities in a much stronger way. It's a much purer state of Christ consciousness, and you get more access to multidimensional self simultaneously. So you're able to feel simultaneously rather than having to direct your consciousness. Like right now, a lot of the folks that are having multidimensional awareness, you have to kind of direct your thought patterns and your heart to this dimension, that dimensional level, that expression. In 70, that kind of goes away, and you become more unified with your own expression simultaneously. And then the 90 level, and all these levels, all these layers, these overlays are getting anchored by the gatekeepers and the grid workers right now. And the 90 level is pure unity consciousness. You don't even have to express as separate beingness anymore. This is something that the Arcturians are informing us about. It's like we don't have to express as individual consciousness at all anymore, which is interesting. They'll do it for our benefit, but it's that layer, that overlay, that 90 energy is also being fully anchored into the planet now, which is why so many people are having that stronger experience of unity consciousness, coming into oneness, coming into divine love, feeling their own heart changing. Your energy fields change as these DNA activations and everything occur. So while that's occurring, you got all this going on, but you still have to pay rent. You still have to have a dog. You still have to, do whatever it is. I'm cleaning windows and trimming trees and all those little things that present. But instead of waking up and going, oh, today is the day that I have to, go and weed the garden or whatever, everything becomes infused with this joy. And then it's like, oh, here I am playing this role of, being here, doing this and doing that and everything. And it becomes more joyful. And of course, there are times where you're just like, oh, how much longer, whenever. And that's when you have to remind yourself, create that feeling in the now. Create that feeling of freedom in the now. And the more people that do the freedom in the now and kind of deny access to that looping program of like, keep creating the same thing, the more you deny that access and be like, I don't feel like doing the same thing anymore. And you fully into that creator state of like, I'm going to practice every single moment of the day and come and fully embrace my mastery. And go, okay, this is presenting, because in the old dynamics, I probably wouldn't even be on Facebook Live. I've been like, no, I have to focus on the gateway, and I'm like, wait a minute, bring in the multidimensional self. Higher levels take care of the gate work, and the sun is very active right now. Take care of that. I'm going to meet with my brothers and sisters for this little window of linear time. And you can feel it, and then I can also feel myself checking in with that level. How's it going down there? How's it going up there? That kind of thing. But there is no separation. It's also just consistently one, which is beautiful. And when you can feel that more and more, you can change the energy around anything. I'll give you an example. This chair that I'm sitting in right here, I have been somebody who's very I've been very simplistic and very minimal about bringing anything in, because I move quite often, and after years of moving around, moving towns and all this grid work and gate work and everything, you learn to minimize your belongings, because you never know when you're gonna pack up and go somewhere else. So I've been kind of allergic to belongings. However, I want to, I'm creating these new classes. So I'm like, well, I need something to sit in and like a nice background and everything. So I order this chair. I live in a tiny town. We don't have furniture stores or anything like that here. So I order this chair, and it comes in this giant heavy box, and the UPS guy is like dragging it up the porch and puts it in the living room, and I'm like, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, thank you, brother, and everything. I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, it just feels like so heavy. Here's this belonging coming into my life stream, and what am I doing? And I could have made do without it and everything. And I caught myself in that moment, and I went, wait a second, there's nothing here but love. I can flip this thing. I can choose love in this now moment. And this became the most
Mm.
glorious thing. I was like, thank you for the chair, for the abundance, to bring it into my life, and all the beautiful things that I'm going to create in it. You just catch yourself and you flip it. And sure enough, I open up the chair, and this is how the universe works when you flip the energy on a situation. I open it up, and everything, it's a white chair. It's got a little tiny gray, something got sprayed across the front of it. There's a little brown patch on the front. I'm like, oh, okay. So I call the manufacturer. It's got a little brown spot on the front. And they say, oh, well, don't return it. It's too heavy. Keep it, donate it. We're going to give you a refund. So I'm literally sitting in a gift. It's just when you
Right.
flip the energy of any situation, and you go from gratitude and celebrating that you're
Right.
physical, rather than judging it or condemning it as something less than. Don't consider a physical incarnation as anything less than. You're a dramatically high level beingness, poured into these realities for a purpose. And we all know, I'm sure all of your tribe knows, that divine love is the purpose. It is the purpose of the star seeds and all the light workers and everything, to change these realities, to assist in the ascension of these realities. And when you start applying that to the little things that present, and honoring the way that you feel, you don't want to deny the way that you feel, but I'll tell you, the moment that I said, I'm going to celebrate this as the most wonderful gift in this now moment, and then next thing you know, it's free. You witness your energy fields changing. You witness your timelines changing. It affects everything. It affects everything around you. And then more things came in to complement this. And it's just, there seems to be some judgment of being in the physical as if it's a lower thing, something that only lower beings.
Yeah.
Not true. It's just not true. And yes, we're surrounded by millions and millions of different expressions of truth. That's the whole point. Source doesn't create
Yeah.
two of anything. That's why it's unique. That's why, because all these fractals are supposed to express in different ways. And you can see, even on this planetary consciousness, when you try to get everyone operating the same way and believing the same things, it doesn't work. It doesn't. We're
Right.
proving that right now. Like, it's supposed to be unique expressions. And even in unity consciousness, you're not morphing into one zombie-like expression of source. It's quite the opposite. You
Yeah.
all those fractals, and then you get all the fractals together, unified, going, what's the highest thing we can create? That's what the New Earth experience, New Earth Now experience is about too. What's the highest thing we can create in this now moment? And when you travel down timelines, like what gatekeepers do, you're looking at the highest trajectory possible in that now moment. And then there are frequencies that come in, and stargates that open, that allow that highest trajectory if it's called forth by folks on the ground, by
Mm.
working together, going, now. There's that higher trajectory, because the timelines are shifting all the time. Your personal timelines, moment to moment, all over the place. But collective timelines,
Wow.
primary timelines that are created for a global shift in consciousness, you get to little points on the timeline, which seems linear, but that's what you're dealing with in density. And you get to a certain point, and then you can take a look at the trajectories. And of course, you're not working alone. You're working with all these immense higher beings that are like on the other side of the Stargate, going, whenever you say so, here it comes. Are you ready? Are you ready? And I've noticed too, like in my role and in some of those council meetings that a lot of you are experiencing, or the higher level collective beingness that's kind of weighing where humanity is, what they can handle, what they can't handle, and everything, you'll notice right now what a tremendous acceleration is unfolding. And it's not something
Yeah.
happening to you, it's something that you participate in. It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And when you embrace that opportunity, you get your own highest timelines and highest trajectories.
Yeah. There's a, there's a, I don't know how to say this. And of course, it's an observation because I've been on the same trip everybody else has been. We get these powerful transmissions. We connect to certain essences. We connect to certain past life stories. And you start to see people getting past all that stuff. It's not relevant anymore.
Right.
We're relevant. And and that's a big change I've seen. And what you're talking about too, this acceleration, it just uh, it just blows my mind as I sit here and talk to these incredible people like yourself and wonder where are we going to be on the linear timeline in 2 or 3 months. I mean, it could be a totally different. It could be something beyond our wildest thoughts for something that could happen 20 years down the road.
Mm.
I mean, it seems to be moving that fast.
It is moving quite quickly because for those of you like myself who are experiencing a much less dense and much less linear experience of time, this has been going on for the last couple of years, but it's getting very wild this year, where it's just wow. You feel like, what reality am I going to wake up in in the morning?
Right?
And you start getting because the overlays are taking away the veils. When you start bringing in 5D, 7D, 9D frequencies into these lower constructs, and they're just constructs for the game that's
Right.
playing out or whatever. It starts triggering all of the all of the people that are aware of their multidimensional self into a much more multidimensional experience, which is
Yeah.
less linear. You do have to remind
Yes.
yourself in a linear way. I have like a little book, and I have to remind myself, don't forget today's the day you have to do that or this or whatever. There's still the schedule thing, but it doesn't feel the same. You'll notice the
Mm-mm.
moment something is complete, it's gone. It's just gone. We'll get off
Yeah.
the phone today and it will be done. It just feels like a million years
Yeah.
ago already. And it's beautiful, because it puts us in that flow. Again, that's
Yeah.
that 5D flowy, watery type sensation,
Hmm.
where it's just like, wow, it just feels like everything is just so fluid and flowy, and it is much less dense.
Hmm.
Of course, it's affecting your body and your energy fields, which is why you get that sensation. But it's something that in our mastery we really need to embrace and have patience with each
Yeah.
when one of you is saying, I thought we were going to get together, but it's not happening. I'm going this way, I'm
Right.
going that way, or something else is, even when we're having difficulty connecting today, like, it is what it is. Who cares? It doesn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't carry all of that flotsam, the
Yeah.
old way of living anymore. And all
Yeah.
just it again, it's bringing in non-judgment and gratitude for the now moment, and whatever is. And when you treat yourself that way, when you don't judge yourself, having, oh, I had to sleep for 12 hours, so what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
adjust. You just adjust. But it's beautiful that so many are having that nonlinear experience right now. Yes, we can connect. We can kind of anchor into a little timeline points and get together and have a Facebook Live or whatever. But the moment we step away from that, it's complete. It's done. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems to be like, because obviously I deal. This scheduling has gotten bigger and bigger, and uh, again, it's like I would say to people, let's do this, let's do that, and it wouldn't happen. I finally got to the point where, you know, like you said, I don't know, how do you manage that timeline? I guess you just have to write the stuff down and try to remember, and even if you forget, it's still okay. I don't know how to put it,
Yeah.
But it's almost like we'll wake up one day and that will be gone because I see it in my own life. I see it like I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, and then I'll just say, you know what, it's going to be all right. And then all of a sudden, like you said, this flow, everything will just fall right into place. It'll just go boom, 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 and everything's perfect.
Yeah, simplicity definitely helps. Taking away anything that just doesn't matter. It just doesn't have to be done. We're doing that to ourselves,
Yeah.
but yeah, the simplicity definitely assists with that. And we're all going through it. There is no solution
Yeah.
to being in density and this higher experience. This is the unfoldment. I mean, it definitely assists to communicate that to other people who are having that experience, because sometimes when the energies get really intense, it really assists to have a way shower that says, yes, also having that experience. Yes, right now. Yes. I mean, I
Hmm.
had a full on, I spent um, Sunday night, no, the full moon night, a couple nights ago on the mountain, because I am a dutiful gatekeeper. So I slept up there. And the experiences that unfolded up there were so non-linear, and so like just a really direct signal of how the overlays are just merging our consciousness into this awareness of simultaneous things happening. I'm laying down in my sleeping bag at the same time that my body's there. I'm also having this very dream state like experience of lightship level coming in, and I have my third eye open and looking around at all the lights and the beings and everything like that. But I'm also I had to force my linear eyes to open in the middle of that. I'm like, is this, wow, like the veil is so thin in those
Mm.
experiences, and they do become very nonlinear, because even trying to recall that is like, what happened? That was kind of cool, that kind of thing. It it does assist to express that to your brothers and sisters in an open way, so that they can, the people who need to make linear sense of their experiences have your guidance, have your camaraderie.
Hmm.
It's important that all of us step into being guides, and not guides from this is the truth and the other thing isn't the truth. It's this wide open heart space of, let's take a look at what we're all experiencing as a collective, and ground these experiences into the human heart, again, human heart grid into the collective, by talking about them, or if you're embracing the kind of light level, feeding out through the field. That's what we do every Sunday, feeding that peace and unity consciousness out into collective human hearts, the grid systems, the gateways, kingdoms, elementals, Gaia, even out into galactic levels sometimes, because they are part of us and they are receiving
Right.
energy. And when they receive that energy, they can then reflect that back. So it's that too becomes nonlinear, not bound by time space dynamics, becomes very present. So you can feel into what the Sunday Unity meditations are going to become. You can feel into those higher trajectories, because this year is really just going off the charts. And it would be highly complimentary if everyone assisted in creating the highest experience for everyone.
Yeah.
No waiting, no more
Yeah.
waiting games, no more the light's gonna do this and I know the truth and all that. You can see it dissolving, because it was
Yeah.
to the old structure, which is gone. So as it dissolves, we're going, oh, there's so much more available. There's so much more flow and so much more divinity. It's really beautiful. And we relearn some things that we left here, or recall some things from the past. But you'll notice that even the things that we were doing in Atlantis, Egypt, those things,
Yeah.
not applicable to the next reality, not applicable to
Yeah.
the higher trajectory. So you're like, oh, okay, well, it's interesting to play with, but we need to pay it forward. All of this stuff, all of
Yes.
our experience, we're paying forward into the very new kind of clean slate that 5D consciousness is. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Let me ask you a couple more questions. How important or how influential is our efforts here in this realm, in this transition, insofar as in respect to all the other dimensions that
Extraordinary.
we
All
exist in?
connected. There is no separation. You know, that is for our benefit in this school type mystery school atmosphere that we have going on down here. Let's say down here. It's not down anywhere. It's just denser. But it has a huge effect. That's the whole reason why the star seeds decided to show up during the shift in consciousness, is because it does affect the higher dimensions. It does affect. There's like a trickle up effect of the more that
Mm-hmm.
we raise our consciousness, we're not just returning to what we were. That makes no sense. You know, we are
Right.
blowing the doors off on what it means to be creator incarnate. We're assisting with this activation of the divine human genome, which carries the codes for pure source consciousness. It's the reason why we incarnated with this divine human genome, is because it's capable of activating 12 strands of DNA, 144, 244. You know, you get into some pretty wild DNA structures the more you expand your consciousness, but it does have a trickle up effect. You know, even it's the reason why we've played this Let's Ascend Gaia game so many times is because it does have an effect, like I said earlier, on the entire galactic structure, on the possibilities for the universal structure. Source technically rewriting an entire universal structure into harmony, you know, kind of explores the edges of duality and polarity and what's the farthest away from myself that I can get, and then I'm going to call it all back in to oneness. And that's what we're experiencing now, is kind of the callback. We reached the edges of distortion, and now we're coming back into this whole, which is just like a universal command, a universal decree
Yeah.
for harmony. So everything that we do down in these realms does have an effect. It has a trickle up effect because we do exist already in those higher realms.
Yeah.
So every fractal of your beingness, from a planetary consciousness, a planetary incarnation, to a star system level, to even if you're working with the formless realms, those kind of beings, or an LOM level, it affects all of that. You know, because
Mm.
they, us at that level, are not the be all end all. You know, that's our belief systems. It's like that's the biggest you can get. And source is like, I am. So it just
Mhm.
continues to have a trickle up effect. So it does matter. It does matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're expanding other dimensions. I'm getting bombarded right now
I know my feet.
about the last 2 minutes.
I'm like trying to get my feet
uh,
on gate.
yeah, and we sure appreciate you spending this time with us. Let me ask you one last question. There's a lot of talk about the 144, or what people call twin flames. I don't particularly care for that label. Say divine conscious unions, the importance of the divine conscious union in the transition, or the 144 in the transition. How important are those things?
I would say not applicable at this point in our journey.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you're going to find not applicable to my journey, not applicable to our journey. The whole idea of twin flames is simply reuniting the tree of life into oneness. I mean, it's just, you know, from my perspective, it was never intended to be a biblical type story of two beings, you know, or two souls, or it served. That's the thing. We don't want to dishonor what we all went through
Hmm.
over the last few thousand years, because it was a learning process. And sometimes, you know, humanity will take a belief system and run with it. And
Mhm.
it reached the edges of its applicability, let's say, and now
Yeah.
we're discovering, that divine oneness. That's all within. It's all within. And even if you
Yeah.
look at it from a classic mastery mystery school teaching of the divine flames and the threefold flame and your two halves folding into one and becoming one with God consciousness, it's all the same thing. It's all the same
Yeah.
story. It's all the
Yeah.
same creation to get us to the point where we are now, coming into divine oneness and a full experience of divine oneness. And there's so much more that's available. So we kind of bless the old stories and let them be what they were, and no judgment for people who are still, it's applicable to their journey. Maybe at the point in they are in their journey, maybe they need that, so we can't judge people for where they are in their journey or what they believe
Right.
to go through in order to break through. But the important thing is to remember, you don't just want another belief system. You don't just want another construct. You want freedom. You want freedom.
Right.
And when
Freedom.
we really open up to that, as like the only rule of thumb would be divine source, cosmic light, love, unconditional, non-judgmental state as something to be attained. That would be,
Yeah.
and again, make it loosey goosey. Don't put a lot of parameters around it because it is expanding. But
Yeah.
when you really come into
Stay
the
open.
knowing of Source's divine love and pursue that through all of your expression and all of your fractal and everything that's going through um, the old stories and the old consciousness, the old light. I live in Mount Shasta. There's a lot of old light dynamics here, but it is what it is. And I don't judge people for their
Right.
journey. They need what they need when they need it. It is
Yeah.
all source. It's all love. It's all divine. And there's no judgment
Yeah.
on, oh, I'm so far ahead of whoever. That's nonsense too.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
If you,
Any parting advice for your fellow brothers and sisters as we head into this
mm,
more frequent and more powerful energy day by day, week by week, month by month?
I feel like all the guidance is there. I feel like everyone can feel it. You know in your heart what is true for you. And you know in your heart what is true if you really feel into it. What is true when it comes to unity being the thing right now. Divine love, unifying in divine love and in divine service, especially with the service. All of you, if you're not
Yeah.
sure what your service route is or what should I do or whatever, just be the presence of God on earth. How's that for a task? Be the presence and practice it and do your work, and all is well. All is incredibly well. And the more, if you are guided or feel like you want to join us on the Sunday Unity meditations, we'd love to have you. There's nothing exclusive about it. It's whoever is willing to do that activity, create your own activities. If you don't want to be attached to Sandra Walter, I don't carry that. That's fine. Just make up your own Sunday Unity meditation. Just get a lot of people together to infuse love into the planet and the humans and the kingdoms, the elementals, and everything on Sundays, and you will feel it. You will benefit from that energy, that field that's been created, and that it's free and it's open and it's beautiful and it's overriding all the damage that's done on Sundays with distortion
Right.
and all that. So it's just knocking it out of the park right now when it comes to divine love. And don't forget that that's what you are. It's your natural state of beingness.
Yeah.
It's your natural human
Yeah.
birthright to be in your creator state of consciousness.
Sovereign.
And let us beam you.
I'll yeah. I'll get that link from you. I'm going to send you a message and get that link from you. We'll put it out on our network. And see if we can join you on that. Get some people in there.
This is
We really appreciate you spending this special day with us.
Yeah, it's my first Facebook Live, and it was such an honor to be here on your 7-year anniversary, brother. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Quite.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you for honoring us with your presence and having this conversation with us. Hope to see you again. We're going to be moving up to our own website and see what we can do to bring the world's first 24-hour day, 7-day a week video cast
Wow.
with shows like this, vibrations like this. So once we get that going, I'll reach out to you, and maybe we can. It's a platform, for what you're doing and people like you are doing, and so, we could help you do that. We would love to do that.
Yeah, and if you do it on a Sunday, we could do like a live unity meditation. That would be fun.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, you take care. You have a good day. Handle the energies well. Thank you so much for joining us. It was an honor. It truly was an honor
Thank
to
you.
meet you.
Blessings,
It really
everyone.
was.
So much love.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.